Hey guys, how's it going? My name's always and welcome back to Stoneblock 3. In the last episode, we were working on these two systems. So this whole system, which takes carrots that we're growing in a botany pot and water, and it gives us HDPE sheets, which is mechanisms plastic, pretty useful stuff. We're going to need it for a couple of things later. And that is fully automated, fully automatic. And we also made this system, which I've designated with a uranium ingot, because this is making fissile fuel. And this stuff is what we need for nuclear reactors. For the fission reactor, specifically. And we need that to get nuclear waste to get polonium, which is very important stuff. And this takes a lot more resources. So it takes fluorite, it takes sulfur, which I did go ahead and set up with our refined storage system, and it takes water and uranium once we get it, and basically it uses all those things. It's also really loud in there. It uses all those things to make the fuel, and yeah. So in order to get the uranium, we needed to start getting, we need to get the deep slate, and crushing up deep slate. So that is what we've been doing, and I've set up some automation. I have this on a toggle so we can turn it on and off, as we want, as we need, and this is our igneous extruder. There's lava underneath that block. Packed ice, and then there's a magma block. I feel like I showed that off last time. It was over there. I went ahead and moved it over here, hooked it up, and you might notice there's some new things. Well, it's because this doesn't go fast enough. That's much better. So what did I do? So this is adjustable chain gear shifts, and we're just gonna ponder this for a second. And basically, these will transfer the rotational energy, and if you give it a redstone signal, the other chain drives in the row are powered up. So these are going a lot faster than if I turn them off, obviously. Now these are still going pretty fast, and the way I did that was I made a way to get down here. We have our normal gear shifting stuff. This is actually for the fan. This one is for that. And it's just two water wheels and some gears to do the normal stuff. And I believe this makes it faster. It looks like it does. That is much faster than that's rotating. So that's what we want. And I basically just made a little bit of a access hatch down here so we can go look at it, upgrade as needed and whatnot. So yeah, this will help make the processing speed a lot faster, and yeah, that means more resources. So that is, I think, what I needed to talk about, because that's what I did between episodes. Usually I try not to do too much between episodes. I also made some more Hepazon, but that was just because. So it's just an electron tube to make the adjustable chain and gear shift, and a encased chain drive, which is just andesite casing and some nuggets. Pretty easy. And you might guess what we're doing today. So I have dug out another room, and I've also gone ahead and dug out the room over here. So eventually this is going to be where we fight withers. And I have some ideas about how I want to do that. There's a couple of things that we can kind of use, but we'll see. And then, yeah, I've dug out another room this way, and what we're going to end up doing is eventually, I think, maybe in the next one, because we're going to have a lot of these little rooms. All these rooms are going to be for just kind of dedicated automation. And rather than filling up like big rooms like this, we'll have some stuff in here. I don't know if we're gonna have much in the middle, just because I don't know what all we need. We might have some stuff in the middle here, but we have like all our machines and all that kind of stuff. each of these rooms is going to kind of house something different, and we're going to start having rooms on both sides relatively soon. So this one is going to be for the Energizing Orb, and I need to get some stuff to do this, but we also need to make a couple of things so that we can, well, make the system. So I'm going to be perfectly honest. I looked up how to automate the Energizing Orb. Specifically for this mod pack, I found a Reddit thread, and I'm going to just say the name. It was Boki, Bockii, who made this design that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to set it up off camera in a moment. But let's talk about why this thing is terrible. So, the Energizing Orb has a bunch of recipes. We can also get rid of that. So it has a bunch of recipes. Some of them I don't really care about automating. The antimatter relay, for example, not really something I care about. See, it has this thing called EMC at the bottom. It means we have to make it once, and then at this point, when we're at this point, we just make it with EMC. Same with the covalent stuff. We might have to make that like twice. But things like blazing crystals and nitro crystals don't have EMC, so we want to automate that. And a big reason for that is because that's used heavily in Powah, and we're going to want to be able to upgrade things. If we need to make another thermo generator that's nitro level, you know, we need to be able to do that. And so automating this, especially for energized steel, the blazing crystals, the spirited crystals, and the niotic crystals, which are somewhere, here they are, and then eventually the nitro crystals, that is going to be pretty important. So we're going to set up a system, and it's going to require a couple things, but the problem with this, as I was starting to say, is you use these energizing rods and you give them power, and they, you know, energize whatever's in here with whatever power. But if we were just to connect, let's say, let's just grab some iron, why not? If we were to just connect a pipe to it, it's just gonna put in all of the iron, and it's never going to stop. It has a limit of 6 items at a time, but it has to have the exact number of items that it needs to actually make whatever it's trying to make. So for example, the energized steel requires 1 iron, 1 gold. If there are 2 iron or 2 gold, it doesn't work, and it just clogs up the system. So it has to have the exact recipe. And to help with that, we're going to make a couple of things from RFTools. So the first thing is an inventory checker, and I'm going to explain how this works once I've built it and kind of look at it and understand how it works myself. And I think we're going to need 2 machine bases. And then we're going to need a comparator. Actually, do we have a comparator? We might have a comparator. We do not have a comparator. So obviously, because I'm using somebody else's design, it is kind of a mystery to me how it works. But I think I understand basically how it works. And so we'll talk about it very, very briefly. The essential thing is that the crafter has other options. And the other thing is that the Energizing Orb will also output redstone signals. But I think what we will be doing is using an inventory checker on the orb to see if there is are items in there. And then if there is, we tell this to craft, and it's, I don't remember, I think it's redstone pulse inserts next set. And that's what we do with a timer. So I'm going to build this, and I'm going to go ahead and get all of the recipes that we need. I'm actually curious, I gotta remember which one of these are which. So I'm curious, can we do that? We can, cool. So I'm just gonna get all of these recipes. Nope, not that one. Most of them are pretty easy. They do take a lot of power. And then the other thing we're going to do, and we're going to use the blaze rod one. It's a little bit cheaper. But the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and teach the system how to make some of the energized, like the energized rod and whatnot. I'm gonna teach the system how to make all that kind of stuff, especially the capacitors. So that is an energy cell basic, and yeah, we're gonna get a lot of things. You might notice that there's more of these crafters. It's because I put more in. So I also cleaned up this. This is just kind of to make things look nice. I've got, you know, the cables in the ceiling a little bit more, so everything looks a little nicer. So I'm going to work on getting a bunch of crafting recipes made and getting this system built, and then we're going to look at it. I'll explain how it works. We'll make sure that it works, and the big thing next is, what do we do after that? I want to get a loot crate opener. You know what, we can go ahead and make that right now. And I don't know where I want to put this, but that is something that we can use to open up all of the various loot crates that we're getting from the mob farm. So I believe stone pickaxe and some wood. So there is the loot crate opener, and if we look at loot crates, we have a ton of stuff, and so what I'm probably going to do, maybe like right here, I'll just grab we'll just get a diamond barrel, if I can spell diamond, and I will go ahead and just put this stuff in. Well, I guess we can just set it up right now. Let's get loot of each type. I've not had the mob farm on too much, but that is something that I can run whenever I want. We are getting a lot of experience from it, which is really nice. Let's get an exporter. That will take just a moment. And then let's get some cables. And basically we'll just... I guess we could do it in here, couldn't we? Yeah, let's do it right here. Because this makes a little bit more sense. And if we ever want to import stuff, we can, but we can just do something like that. I don't know if this will... I'm going to look into this because it's stored items. It might actually require us to have a pipe on it. I'm going to look and see. Well, I guess we could just do this. So we'll put an exporter. We will export. Let's do the clay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So clay right there. So it's stored items. What happens if we put a barrel next to it? It does not auto feed. So let's do that. We'll grab a thing, a pipe. What are they called? Logistical transporter. And one big thing that I want to make sure, these are not useful for anything else. They are not. So we can just go ahead and do this. There goes all the items. And then we can do common. Uncommon, I believe. Rare? Let's look up the order. I actually never can remember. Yes, it is rare, and then epic. And it's just going to put all of the loot in here. And then we can grab what we need. Anything that has, let's say, EMC later, we can use. But it's just going to put everything in there. So that works for me. I'm going to put the rest of these in here so that it'll open them as well. And it should be nice and fast and pretty automatic. Now this will eventually fill up. And this will then also fill up of stuff. So that is, I think, where we're going to not worry about that anymore. So I don't know what we're going to do for the rest of today's episode after we set up the Energizing Orb. But we are going to make some upgrades and whatnot. And I will kind of show that stuff off. We might do some questing. We might do another automation thing. I don't know yet. But I'm going to set this up and I will see you guys once it's done. Alright, so the system is set up, and it does work. I did test it real quick, but we need to talk about this. It's already full. There is some cool stuff in here, but not really that much. I mean, it's kind of nice to get, like, you know, soul sand, ender pearls, nether bricks, that kind of stuff. Got some obsidian and blaze rods. I took those out immediately because those are really useful. Cobalt. I thought that was mana steel, I'll be honest. And there's still 125 items in there, so I'll deal with that as we go, but yeah, let's throw all that stuff in there. We have a good bit of obsidian now, which is nice to see. So let's go look at the system we have, and we're going to immediately upgrade our energizing rod. So this is it. That's all. This big room for this. So this thing we're gonna break because we're gonna upgrade it in just a moment. So the first upgrade is to hardened from basic, and I've gone ahead and made the hardened capacitors. We have recipes for all that stuff in the system as well. So let's talk about this. So we'll start here. The crafter has all of our patterns, and it is specifically set to redstone pulse inserts next set. Then we have the energizing orb that has an importer on top. This importer will need to have all of the different things whitelisted. And I went ahead and put some speed upgrades because why not? But all the different outputs, so the blazing crystals will need to go in there as well, and whatnot. And you know what? Let's go ahead and tell it to make a blazing crystal. The reason being, you know what? Let's tell it to make a blazing capacitor. Because that is the next upgrade for this. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll tell it to make the blazing capacitor, and it will craft 2 because that's the recipe. Once you get to Niotic, it only crafts 1 at a time. But obviously it is waiting for the crafter. So what we need to do, and what it's going to do, is we can look at what it's trying to do. So you can see that there is now a blaze rod in there. There's only one blaze rod. The crafter is locked though, and it will always be locked because this is an inventory checker. This is looking purple on that side. This is looking into the energizing orb, and it is looking in the first slot. And if there is anything in here, it sends a signal. Everything else is blank, doesn't matter really, but it should be 0 or 1. And it's just looking at the first slot of the energizing orb in its inventory, and it says, hey, there's something there, sends a redstone signal to our timer. Now this timer is delayed by 2 seconds, 20 ticks per second, and it is paused while redstone is active. So I believe this is sending out, actually no, it's not sending out anything. This gets a redstone pulse, and it sends in the next set. So until it gets a redstone pulse, it will not try to insert anything. So at this point, this is waiting for the blaze rod to be turned into the blazing crystal, which it won't because we don't have the energizing rod there. And once it is, it should be able to be, I'll have to put the filter obviously, but it will just be absorbed by the importer, put into the system. And then it's going to wait 2 seconds because this is going to stop giving a redstone signal. It will unpause this, 40 ticks will go, And once that happens, it puts a redstone signal out. And this will go, oh, hey, I can put the next recipe in. If it has any recipes queued up. If it doesn't, it doesn't do anything. So it's a really, really good idea. It is a really compact, simple design. I love it, and it works just fine. We're going to upgrade our energizing rod real quick to hardened. And kind of the idea is we can make more of these. And I can, you know, make another dielectric casing. And we'll be able to upgrade this to blazing, and then eventually we can do it for whatever. But yeah, it is a really good thing. Baki, I believe, was the name on Reddit, and we can put a few more of these rods here. Kind of the reason we have this big room is we could put a lot of rods. So we're gonna take that item out, and you can see it immediately started to do its thing again. So it waits the 2 seconds and then puts the item in. Super simple, super easy, and it works like a charm. So that is that all taken care of. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to upgrade stuff off camera. I think what I want to do is I want to upgrade this, our energy cell, to probably Niotic tier. Or even Spirited tier. Now, Spirited requires emeralds and 1,000,000 power each. So that's not too bad, but it is a lot of power. And I might even upgrade the thermo generator to Spirited as well. And this is going to be more of a like manual, but eventually we could automatically do it. But for now, like that kind of stuff is pretty minor. The crafting recipes are all the same as everything else. It's just the next tier. And the capacitors, the only big difference is the Niotic capacitors only give you 1, whereas everything else gives you like 2 or more. So for the rest of today's episode, I want to make this, a budding emerald crystal, which requires a crystal catalyst, which means we need to get some blaze rods. Luckily, we have plenty of those. And we're going to get the crystal catalyst, and we're going to get the emerald, the budding emerald. And that was a quest. So it talks about it in here. Passive resources. Works like budding amethyst, but for other resources. There are a bunch. Salt, fluorite, redstone, diamond, glowstone, emerald, lapis, nether quartz, prismarine. The prismarine will give you small buds, and the top buds can be ground into prismarine blocks, Certus quartz, and fluix. Don't really care about most of that stuff, but the emerald is going to be pretty important. Now, I don't know if I can pick that up once I place it down, so we're going to put it in the important chest, because we're going to want to automate that later. And I'm not entirely sure how I want to, but the reason is because it's required for the infinity catalyst. We need the emerald clusters, which is the largest of them. And that is another thing that we're going to have to automate eventually. So let's go ahead and dump that in there. The rest of today's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to complete another 4 quests, if we can. And the most important of these quests is this one, the shields. The shield generator, shield projectors from RFTools is crucial for wither fighting. And so we're gonna deal with that, and we're going to just finish those quests up. So let's go ahead and get all the things we need. Let's just do that. We'll do these 2. We're just gonna do tier 1s for right now. I don't think we'll ever need higher tiers than that, and I don't think the templates matter. And then spawners, matter beamer, and a syringe. Most of the stuff should be pretty easy, like the syringe. Can we make that? We did. Not something I plan on using. The matter beamer, we're gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 machine frames, which are actually pretty easy if we can just get some blue dye. And I think 8 is what we need. Alright, so the matter beamer, the spawner, and we're just going to really quickly, we don't need these. These will spawn creatures, and I don't care. We have better ways of spawning things in than that, so we're not going to worry about it. We're going to need 2 more blue dye. Let's see. We're going to need wool. So let's get like 20 wool available to us. And we'll just go ahead and get the blue shield template. And we'll make more of that stuff as we need it later. And the shield projector tier 1. So the shield projector is something that we're going to use later. Because this thing, basically, you can make solid blocks that only exist when there is redstone and or power. They interact with things, and you could even have them damage withers or let players through, and they are wither proof. So that is going to be huge for containing and defeating withers until we get the first couple of nether stars, because everything's gonna with nether stars, everything's gonna come back to the energy condenser, which once we have red matter and dark matter and this stuff, which most of this is not too bad. We could actually make that right now. It's just, we could make that right now. That is a lot more expensive than I expected. I'm gonna have to figure out a good way to get an ancient debris at some point. Or netherite scrap. We are getting netherite scrap from debris scrap, but yeah, we'll have to make a system for that. That will be another room. So that is something that's not a huge deal. But once we get so to get dark matter and red matter for that matter, for that case, we need the philosopher's stone, which requires a nether star. So 2 nether stars should be enough for us to duplicate them and not have to kill the wither ever again. So I don't know if we're going to do any sort of heavy automation with that. I don't know yet, but we are going to need a lot of nether stars. And so I think EMC might be the path for that. Anyways, those are those quests. Let's get the rewards. Why not? That was also a quest item. The item transporter. Let's just go do that. Why not? And back to RFTools. So we'll just dump this stuff in. I'm going to start dumping things in here a little bit more often. We have plenty of storage space, and our drawer system is kind of solved at this point. So next thing we need is the builder, and so we're going to need bricks. Let's just get a stack of clay bricks, and that will be quick enough. That will be very quick, and then we can make what we need. So bricks, because we're gonna need 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So let's make the builder and a shape card, which for the shape card we need more paper. Just throw a bunch of paper in there. All right. So that is another quest, and what the builder does is you can do a couple things with it. The big thing is you can use it as a quarry, so you can dig out big areas. You can also just kind of have it build stuff for you, as the name implies. So we'll get another vile sword. That's actually really nice. I'm gonna immediately let's see what kind of enchant we can get on this, and then we'll finish up the RFTools quest line. So let's get some XP jelly babies, shift and eat them all at once, and let's enchant this thing. I'm hoping for like sharpness. Sharpness 3 is not bad. Knockback 2. I don't like the knockback. You know what? No. We're gonna do that. Okay, Soul Stealer 4. And that's all you got. So we have a Soul Stealer 4. Now, can you combine them to get Soul Stealer higher? 5. So if I put those there, you can. Okay. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. That is cheaper for some reason. So I hate that it has fire aspect on it. I've been trying to get sharpness. But that's really good. Okay. So there's a bee up there. I don't really like the bees, I'll be honest, anymore. They just are annoying. They break blocks when they spawn in, because they spawn in stone, and it's not fun sometimes. But anyways, we have one more quest to do. We need to make a shape card that's useful. So there is the quarry, which requires some diamond stuff. These are all additionals to the quarry, or we can do a liquid. I guess we'll do the diamond stuff. So let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to need a diamond pickaxe and shovel. And that's it. So there is the shape card quarry, and there is the big loud noise that says, we did it. So we'll go ahead and complete that reward. We got a blacker lotus. That is really nice. That is useful later for when we get into Britannia, which we will get around to that kind of stuff eventually. We have to at some point. And yeah, honestly, I think that's a good place to stop for today. So let's talk about what we have, what we're going to be working towards, and all that fun stuff. So we have another room for automation of the Energizing Orb. Something to note with this. One of the singularities that we are going to need is a nitro crystal singularity. So we're going to have to automate that. We will be able to pretty easily. With that, we can get a crafting card on an exporter and hook that up to the singularity creator thing, and everything will be good. So things that we're going to need to do. We need to get a good supply of blazing blood and netherite scrap, so that we can do all that stuff. I don't know that there's any quests right now that we need to worry too much about with that. In terms of like trying to get more I don't think anything is really requiring us to get too much netherite right now. But like we can always upgrade our tools. We could upgrade our armor. Our armor is not bad, but it's not the best. But we are going to be getting the mecha suit eventually, as well as the mecha tools. So I believe this is better than the atomic disassembler, considering it uses it. But a lot of this stuff is really, really, really expensive. So that is stuff that's going to be much further in the future. So next episode, what are we going to do? I think what we're going to work on is, I don't know. I really don't know. We do need to go adventuring at some point. We need to get a wither skeleton. Not the actual wither, but a wither skeleton from the nether dungeon. We also do need to get this thing back up and running, and get get to the end, and all that kind of fun stuff. And I believe we even have to go further than the end. So I believe, yeah, beyond the end ring is where boss dungeons are. And there is a handful of things that we need to do with that. So we'll figure things out with all that. But yeah, next episode, I'm not entirely sure what we'll do. We might start working on getting done with another quest or so. I can't do that one yet, but we'll do it at some point. We might, finish up Industrial Foregoing. At some point, we do need to set up the fission reactor, and that is going to be terrible. I am not looking forward to that. But we also do need to get into some of the magic mods as well as chickens. So it might be good to get into chickens sooner rather than later. I was kind of putting it off because I don't want to do it, but yeah, that is something that we'll have to probably end up doing. I'm gonna try to stay away from chickens super heavily this time because we did chickens in farming primarily in Stoneblock 2. So anyways, I'm rambling. I don't know what we're going to do next time. I will figure something out, and we'll do something, and it will be great. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!